everyone, and welcome to our number one pod TV show, the Do It Yourself Timeshares Surrender, or actually Timeshares Solutions or Surrender with Irene Parker. And today is episode 43, and Irene has had some great success this year. We've had some tragedy stories, and we've had some good stories. And we're going to be wrapping up this year discussing both and so how you can get involved to help us help others. And so, everyone, help me welcome Irene to, wrong Irene. Sorry about that. Hi, Irene. It's one of those days. But, you've had some great success this year since I met you.
Right. And people are, it's just wonderful that people will dig in and run with it, because we really want to promote self-advocacy that rarely is it ever necessary to retain a third party unless you don't have the time or the temperament to self-advocate. So I am extremely excited about today's show. I'm going to bring on to our show Anne. And Anne was here. You've answered one of my questions already, Anne. There is an E at the end of Anne.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I was going back and forth.
The silent E.
And we have, for better or for worse, we have Anne's husband, Don, with us today. And this show is really something because Anne was she's talk about a reality TV. We're going to play a few minutes of last week's show, but before we do that, and we're going to show the before and after Anne and Dawn. And so I'm also going to bring on Martha. Now, Martha is last Monday was the first time that Anne and I talked. And I don't know who was more befuddled, Anne or me, but we had, neither of us had any clue of what was going on. So it took about an hour on one day and an hour and the next, where I asked Anne about 1,000 questions and was able to extract from Anne and Dawn what has transpired to turn their timeshare into an absolute disaster. Now, Martha is here to support. She's farther along in the dispute process, and we're not going to mention the name of a resort because there's a possibility that they will work with her. Now, she's not there, but we have our board
reality TV show.
Yes, we have our board member, Sheila, and the purpose of this meeting is twofold. Number one, someone tuning in for the first time, I'm going to have, if someone contacts and say, I have a timeshare problem, the first thing I do.
Oh, I'm here.
So I already explained that this is for someone who's contacting us for the first time. I have them read our dispute resolution process. And we had the author of that article on a few weeks ago, where she was able to resolve 2 disputes without paying a third party. What's so interesting about Anne is Anne paid an exit company $14,000. And we're going to read the letter that they helped her prepare, that if I was Hilton Grand Vacations, I would have stopped reading it halfway through, compared to the report that Anne and Dawn basically prepared by answering my questions. And my skills are a curse, because I'm the only one. We have 11 people on our board, and it takes skill and it takes time. And the most difficult resource is time, because I know Sheila is so busy solving problems for other people. She doesn't have much time left.
I'm going to go in the crazy bin pretty soon. And Anne, yes. I have a question for you. Yeah. I hope Dawn knew that you spent that money at that place.
Actually, he fit the money.
Okay.
Okay, well, we have enough victim blaming going on. Almost all calls that I get is from a wife that said, I didn't want to do this. My husband wanted, and I'm like, okay.
There's a lot of struggles and challenges to this, and any time that someone can donate and volunteer to us, or even just do a follow-up and send us your story, especially if we've had a success in your events, to just share and continue supporting us just through your time and efforts. Sheila and Irene put in a lot of time on this, and it's going to take more. And what Irene needs right now, she needs more writers. We need more professional writers. And, I'm good. I get results, but I'm not a nice writer. I just write from the gut. I've won a couple of cases this week doing that. I've even had one attorney go, I quit. You're fired. He fired me. I had already fired him, and gave me back all my money. So, I mean, but you've got to be a little patient when you do these projects, and you have to be able to be very eloquent with the choice of words, but understanding. And Irene is just very skilled at that, and that's a very rare skill. But if anyone out there who has the skill of writing, if just even proofreading her work would help as well, because even the best writers need their work proofread, right, Irene?
Well, and I don't really write the reports. I just ask the questions. So it's basically the people that are disputing that are writing the reports. But as speaking of donation, I was never, so it's a good thing I was sitting down when I got an email from Timesharing Today, which is it's been a resource for timeshare members, and it's very pro timeshare industry. So I was so pleased and honored that Timesharing Today would do a 3.5-minute, what I feel is a public service announcement that's too little, too late, for the people that are on all our social media platforms and the people that are on this show. But anything we can do to get this PSA into the general public before you go into a timeshare presentation, because what they describe in this PSA is exactly what happened to Martha.
Which we'll play at the end of the show.
Well, let's play the Timesharing Today right away, if we could do that.
You want to do it now?
Yes.
Okay, let me change tabs. Hold on just a second.
It's worth it. It's 3.5 minutes of valuable airtime that's good to see.
All right. We're going to be on our way. Hold on just a second.
There's Timesharing Today. That's not it.
No, it's not. That's not what I want.
But that's okay. I mean, this is great to see what Timesharing Today is about.
That's not the one I watched earlier.
No.
Okay. We just did an advertisement for somebody.
No, that's Timesharing Today. That was good.
Yeah, I know, but that's not what we wanted. But you continue on with the show, and I'll pull the other one, and we'll watch it later.
Okay. Basically, what we're going to start with here is the letter that Anne paid. Now, Anne, after you prepared, did you write this email, or did they offer suggestions? How did this initial correspondence with Hilton that was sent on May 1st, 2024, that you paid $14,000 for their service? After you sent this, what happened?
Okay, well, they prepared the letter and we just kind of fine tuned it for corrections. We proofread it, as Kim said, and kind of changed a couple things. But yes, after the response we got from that letter was that Don, just correct me if I'm wrong. So if it at some point, and I get commit, but it said we said we were interested in a deed back. I don't, I don't know if we even heard from the first one, Don, did we? Anyway, we wanted deed back. They said, yeah, you qualify for deed back for 1,500, and we just have to, if you qualify, and we're like, great.
No, oh, but you had a loan, so you didn't qualify.
Well, yeah, but we didn't know that. So then first they said, well, you don't qualify, and then we have to talk to the loan company. We didn't qualify for the deed back because we have to talk to the loan company. So we talked to the loan company and they said, no, you have to talk to Hilton. So it was this.
Well,
Back and
you
forth.
pay your payments to Hilton, though.
No,
No,
Finco.
Grand Pacific. I mean,
Oh,
what's it called? Finco.
Or-
What is Finco?
Finco. Advanced Financial.
Okay, you don't make your payments to, all right. Now, so you did you go do third-party financing or did you finance directly with, you did not fill out loan papers for Hilton to finance the loan?
No.
No, it was Advanced Financial. They said Advanced Financial.
Okay, so this is new. All right, now, before I read this letter, Kimberly, is Kimberly with us? I guess, okay, so let me go ahead and read this. Oh, there, Kim, can you play minute 40 to minute 43 from last week?
I
So
sure can.
we want to show the before Ann and the after Ann.
There I go.
Okay. Hold on just a second. I got the right one this time. Hold
Okay,
on.
good. Loud and clear. You've listened a little bit, Dima, and me go over these other complaints with the same agent. And you worked with an ex company that's not a scam, but it's not necessary. And but you still are not out of the timeshare?
Well, not exactly. We got a certified mail stating that they were going to sell it and that we owed, if we could pay X amount of money.
Well, let's
Yeah.
back up a minute.
Okay.
Do you have all Hawaii points?
Well, it's kind of confusing. It was no. It was Hilton because our main company's in California. So it started there, and this is where it gets confusing. It started there, and over a process of many upgrades, we get to Hawaii, and they want to do another upgrade on us. And at that point, this is where I get confused. Is the Hawaiian points? I don't think so. I think it's just points.
No, there's a Hawaii collection, there's a US collection, there's a Cabo collection, and I have Premier Vacation Club points. So
I know they kept switching, wanting us to go up to Max. There was Max that they wanted us to switch up to for another fee.
why did they want you to buy into Max?
So that we could get to Hawaii. We could get to more prime resorts, I guess.
And you had prior to that US collection points?
I guess when we went to that initial one, I get so confused. When we went to the initial one on a vacation package and they got us in their room, we said the only reason we would even buy points is to get into Hawaii. because that's where we went every year on my birthday, which happens to be a holiday. Can never get in. Anyway,
where were you? What sales center were you at?
Carlsbad, Marbrisa.
Okay,
We're at
in
Pacific.
California.
Yeah, it was in
Okay,
California.
now before we go further, there is so much confusion with Hilton Grand Vacations, you can't believe it. Because Hilton had deeded weeks. Do you have any deeded weeks with Hilton?
I didn't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, now this is very common. This is very common. People don't know what they have. And Seema and I spent about 2 or 3 hours on the phone. And we had also Dr. Dave and I, we were probably just trying to figure out what you have if you bought several times. But Hilton had deeded week. And Pam, you probably have a deeded week. These are, I call them, some of them your grandmother's timeshare because they're fixed weeks or floating. But anyway, they would have points that would accompany those. It might be 4,500 if it's a 1-bedroom, 8,000 points, Hilton points. Okay. Well, that's completely different from Diamond's points, we can stop it. Trust points. That's not accurate. Diamond owns properties that are in a trust, but they Okay, your resort went bankrupt. Okay, 2 days ago, where 2024. I didn't get to go through all of these complaints, but first off, what Seema reported, and then you can tell us. Kim, okay, so now we're back. Okay, so I heard 5 confusings mentioned. All right, so this is the letter that the exit company helped you prepare about that. We hope, and it was sent May 1st of 2024. We hope this letter finds you well. I'll edit it down a little bit. We are reaching out to formally request the termination of our current timeshare agreement. We were under the impression, based on information provided, that we would have the ability to travel to Maui. Well, I would have stopped reading right there if I was Hilton, because you can go to Maui. Okay. It became apparent that this was not available, which was a significant deviation from our initial understanding and the reason for our investment of $10,000. And had we been fully aware of the actual terms and limitations, we would have chosen not chosen to upgrade. This has led us to, we would like to address the delay in dealing with this matter because we had some medical problems. Given this circumstance, we kindly request your understanding and cooperation in resolving this. We look forward to your assistance. Thank you for your attention. That was $14,000 right there. Okay, now, I know that they probably have had emails and going back and forth a little bit. Oh, here's Kim has let's have our commercial break here. So this is Timesharing Today's public service announcement that Kim is going to play for us.
Timeshare advocacy. Timeshare and resort developer accountability in Encantada. Making a difference, www.tarda.org. For decades, many timeshare owners have cherished the promise of unforgettable vacations. But for some, the reality of ownership has been overshadowed by unmet verbal promises made during high-pressure sales presentations. Verbal promises, like assurances that purchasing more points would allow an easy exit or that no fees would remain after paying off a loan, are often made to close the sale. Yet these claims frequently don't appear in the written contracts. These misrepresentations can leave owners with escalating maintenance fees, additional loan payments, and a sense of betrayal. Many owners, particularly older couples, find themselves unable to travel, but still responsible for costly obligations they no longer need or want. Timeshare contracts are legally binding, and verbal promises made during sales presentations mean nothing unless they are included in writing. This discrepancy leaves owners with little recourse when seeking to end their contracts. Many owners share heartbreaking stories, widowed individuals left with timeshares they can't afford, or those misled into purchasing additional points as a supposed way out. The financial and emotional toll can be overwhelming. If you're navigating a timeshare issue, here's how to protect yourself. Insist that any promises made during the sales process are written into the contract. Thoroughly review all terms and ask questions before signing. Consult a trusted attorney or consumer protection advocate if anything seems unclear. Document all communications, especially promises made by sales representatives. Resolving timeshare issues can take time and persistence, but it's not impossible. Keep detailed records of your situation, remain firm in your requests for clarity, and seek help from credible consumer advocacy organizations if needed. Timeshare ownership was meant to enhance your life, not create stress. By staying informed, advocating for yourself, and demanding transparency, you can take steps toward peace of mind. Protect yourself and your loved ones by ensuring that every promise is in writing. Your journey toward resolution starts with knowledge. Timeshare advocacy. Timeshare and Resort Developer Accountability, Inc. and TARDA. Making a difference, www.tarda.org.
The pounding behind me, we do have to have some repair work done, but I get the impression that the timeshare developers think I'm just a crazy old lady that doesn't have anything better to do than to convince people that they don't like their timeshare. So to have someone that is so pro-industry that still recognizes, Martha, I'm sure you could relate to some of that, correct?
Right.
That let's before we switch over to the letter that Don and Ann and I composed, tell us a little bit about how did you first become involved with your timeshare, and then after your husband passed away, understandably you don't want to go to vacation resorts by yourself. How long did you own your timeshare, and what happened when you attempted to exit?
Well, usually I think the first one was 19.
I'm going to go see if I can ask these people to wait. You keep talking.
Okay, in 1991 or 19 something, we bought 17,000 points. Then in 2010, we bought 4,000 more. So the total was 21,000 points. And then my husband started getting sick, and he didn't want to go nowhere. So then after he passed away, we went in October with my sister and some friends to Vegas. And they told me to go to this meeting. So I knew that what meeting was about. And I said, I just don't want to go because I want to return, I want to exit this timeshare because I can't use it, and I don't want to travel alone. And the maintenance fees are getting too high, and I'm on a budget, and I can't afford it anymore. So she told me, she says, yeah, you can go to this meeting and you can explain to the agent that. So I went because I wanted to find out what to do. And was when that she told me that Diamond is never going to get back those timeshares. And so she says that the only way was to become a Hilton member. And she sold me some points. So I don't know, I was kind of confused, and I wanted to get rid of those maintenance points. And so I say yes, but she was so, I don't know, she told me that after what was that, when I finished paying the loan with Hilton, I didn't have to pay anything else. So I said, well, that's kind of weird, but I said, okay. And I asked him many, many times if that was true or not. So she says, yes, you don't have to pay anything else. So
Well,
then it was, I'm sorry.
and then we were able to compose a report for you together, and you
Yes.
sent it, and you did hear from the resort right away. But then they arranged, and I thought this was a bit unfair. I said, do you have two of your neighbors that would be on this Zoom call? It just seemed to have someone who lost their spouse. And we're told that, you know, you have to buy more points to sell them, which is exactly what the PSA talked about, right? And to
Right.
put you on a Zoom meet with the director of sales and two other people, it just seemed kind of unfair. Did you find that intimidating?
Yes, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah.
And so we're still, you know, they were going to get back with you, I think you said next week, and we're still waiting for that.
Yeah,
So,
last Friday, they said by Friday, we will go back to you, but nothing. I haven't heard anything.
okay, well, we're going to have you on the show in the future and hopefully we'll be able to have a happy ending. But what we ask ourselves is, Kim, you've lost your spouse, and my husband's in his 80s. I certainly, you know, it's certainly understandable that you don't want to go to a vacation resort by yourself.
Right.
We usually suffer a loss of income. And do they really think that you're making this up?
No,
That,
yeah, they do. They, I mean, but they're so predatory and they lack empathy. They can show it, but in reality, there's nothing in there. And I told them many times, I can't buy anything. I haven't had an income in 3 years. My problem was I was extremely intoxicated at the time, and I told them that too. But they didn't stop, and they held us for 3 hours. I mean, so I was coming off what I call a hangover at the time of point of sale, but they're not nice people. I don't. I truly understand why my husband made me promise long before he died, but for years, don't ever, ever, ever buy a timeshare. Don't promise me. If something ever happens to me, you won't buy a timeshare. And I didn't even know it was a timeshare vacation I bought. I thought it was a discount from Hilton. So, Hilton lied to me from get-go. From the moment they called me to selling me a weekend, I didn't see the teeny tiny lettering at the bottom of 3 pages of an email. Oh, by the way, this is a timeshare. I just didn't see that. And I don't know how you feel, but Martha, but as a widow, my ability to read through things just wasn't there. And I told him that. I told him I am not of a mental state of mind to do anything or make decisions. I've told a lot of people this, and it didn't stop certain people from pressuring me into something I really didn't want or need. But yeah, you're half an income or less. You're relying on people to be honest and to look out for your best interest. And unfortunately, you can't. And these people are not nice people. I mean, the nicest person ever in my face literally almost destroyed my whole life, because you know how I felt when I wrote to you, Irene, because at the time I felt like I betrayed my husband's trust. I betrayed my bank account. I just did everything wrong and they took advantage, and I was blaming myself. Now I don't blame myself. I blame them. And every time I see what happens to someone on this show, my hair raises on the back of my neck. They just don't care.
well, what we're going to do now, and I'm glad you mentioned that because you mentioned that you didn't see the fine print. In the case of Anne and Don, reading the contract would not have helped because
No.
they didn't have access to the booking site to know within the contract rescission period, which is what we're lobbying for. So now, even though it's going to take about 5 minutes of our airtime, I'm going to read the report. It's still not a finished product. I had a couple questions today I asked Ann, but this is the report that we just prepared. And I intend to reach out to that exit company and tell them this is the before and the after. And I really think that they deserve something about at least a partial refund. They did some work, but this is our report. And as again, the twofold purpose of this show is to also show volunteers what it takes, because I'm not going to be around forever. And TARTA, the number of people reaching out to TARTA has increased so dramatically. So when hardly anyone knows what they have, what they actually bought when they call. So the first thing Don and Ann did was lay out their contracts. And you have a lot of shuffling of papers. So we try to have you know the answers to the 5 W's before you talk to a volunteer. So they had that in front of them. And after we understand the chronology, and my first question is usually, how did you first become involved with your timeshare company? Okay, so that sets the stage for where it began. Now, in the middle of what we were talking about, Don and Ann mentioned that they owned Holiday Inn. And I said, tell me about those details. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with Hilton. I said, but it has to do with the whole picture. And as we get through that, we can understand why they made the assumptions they made based on that experience they had with the Holiday Inn timeshare. So here we go. And after, one more thing, after we go to the chronology, it's usually not until we reach the end of the chronology that I understand what's going on, what happened, what is the situation. Once we have the second paragraph to the end of the report, then we can go back and write the first paragraph. Because, you know, some people buy 5 times and they're disgusted with the whole thing. I want to get out of the whole thing. Well, if you're only disputing the last contract, then that's what you should ask them if they could work out with you. Okay, so now here we go. The first paragraph. We stopped making payments to Hilton Grand Vacations on June 28th, 2024, because we were promised that we could easily exchange the 3 deeded Hilton weeks we purchased for Maui to stay over my birthday, which is the first week of January. Side note, that's a whole lot different than saying we couldn't go to Maui. You asked for a specific week in a high demand period. Okay, so to continue on, we attempted to do this, but because of the high demand, it was impossible. Except one time we were able to exchange through RCI, but we had to pay $250 exchange fee to stay on the Big Island, where we did not want to stay because they wanted to stay only on Maui, but that was all we could get. Our sales agents in our first and second purchase both assured us that we could stay anytime, anywhere. Now, one of our 11 board members is a former timeshare sales agent. So side note here, she's an honest agent. She would have told you that if you are a timeshare consumer, you have to have more flexibility. You just can't say, I just want to stay on 4th of July or, Memorial Day weekend in Virginia Beach. You need more flexibility than that. Okay, so we continue on. We first became involved with Hilton on March 7th of 2022. We purchased a Grand Pacific Marbrisa unit for $17,840 in California. We financed $15,732 and we were allotted 6,702 points. We met with Sue X. So we're not going to say the name of the sales agent unless you have a recording that otherwise is your word against theirs. And you can only record in one party states where it's legal to record. Okay, next paragraph. The second purchase was on November 25th, 2022. It was by phone from Orlando. An agent called from Orlando. We explained that we couldn't go to Maui when we wanted. He said, well, that's because you didn't have enough points. We purchased an Ocean View 2-bedroom unit with 9,280 points for $36,000. They consolidated that loan into a new loan. The amount financed on the third purchase was $33,227. They said with the additional points, we would be able to stay somewhere in Hawaii for the week we wanted to stay. It took from November 25th, but wait, okay, now I have a question. And again, we're not done with this report yet. You were complaining, and I'm good at being devil's advocate. I could be a robot auto denier for one of these resorts. Okay, you said you specifically wanted to vacation on Maui, but you said here that when you bought the third time, oh, this was the second time. Yeah, this was the second time that you would be able to stay somewhere in Hawaii for that first week of the year. So at this purchase, Anne and Don, did you give up only Maui and you were okay with all of Hawaii?
No.
I think. Wait a minute. Am I muted?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. I think that was a mistranslation. Our goal was always Maui.
On that particular week?
Yes.
Right.
Only on that week. Okay, all right. So, okay, so that was wrong. Okay. And then now this I'm still confused about. So you did end up staying, you were able to stay in Hawaii, but on Kauai, not the Maui that you wanted. And you had to pay an exchange fee by going to RCI. Now, I still don't quite understand this, but you said the booking period ended December 29. And after that date, you could only book one day at a time. I've never heard of that.
That was for trying to get into Kona, which was our stay end of December of 23 into January of 24. They would only let us book till the last day of, I think it was December. Then because we went into a new year, we had to call. Is that right, Ann? We had to call.
No, we had to do it online. We had to do one day at a time.
Don, you have a really bad echo.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
See if I can turn my mic down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there an echo now?
Yeah, well, that's okay. I don't think we'll be able to easily resolve that. But the bottom line was it was a really frustrating, exasperating, confusing process to just book that week on Kauai, paying the exchange fee.
Because what we had to do was give them the confirmation number, and we called the 800 reservation number. We gave them our confirmation number, and then they would add a day. So that was, that was for Kona.
Okay, you still have a really bad echo, so we'll go on from there. Okay, now to show our volunteers and what we do to help to support people is we have people who are experts. Sherida is on our board, and she's going to join us today. She's a Marriott expert. She works in Marriott rentals and resales. So I reached out to our Hilton expert, who works in. She has been selling resale deeds for decades, specializing in Hilton. And she said, if you had gone to the Hilton website, you could have, there's an option to click RCI and you have a higher priority than if you just go to the RCI website. And you did not know that, correct, Ann?
Correct.
Okay, but you found that. And FYI for other Hilton, there's also a San Francisco SSFX Resorts that's a second site on there that you can use to exchange. Okay, now we're up, you've got two deeds now. In December of 2022, you attempted to book. This was when you exchanged on Kauai and with the $250. And then a year later, in December of 2023, we stayed at Hilton's Bay Club on Waikoloa on a promotional package. On January 3rd, 2023, was that 2023 or 2024? I guess that was
2024.
It went from December like 29th or something like that to January 10th, something like that.
Okay, but that was it was
24.
December
of 24.
Yeah,
December of 23 to January of 24.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we correct that. We purchased a Parkview week, also at Grand Pacific that's in Carlsbad, California. Okay, that came with 11,200 additional points. The purchase price was $53,990. They opened two Amex cards to charge $10,000, and you financed $39,000 at 12%. Your sales agent was Matthew. We told him we wanted to stay on Maui only the first week of January. And the reason I asked, well, why didn't you just buy a Maui deed? But you said that was not affordable. But you were, what they said is if you buy these Carlsbad deeds, you can exchange them for Maui anytime, anywhere, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, now that's when I asked about the Holiday Inn, and I said that the reason that you assumed that you could book anytime, anywhere is you were able to do that with your Holiday Inn timeshare, but anywhere was Texas and Arizona.
Correct, because our family's there.
Not Virginia Beach and on the 4th of July or some very, very high demand. Okay, now, so then we have, that is what we have so far with your report. Now, I read to my husband, the first letter the exit company helped you compose, and the second one, and the level of detail that if you write a report and you bought a deeded week in 1997, we don't need to go into a whole lot of great detail about that, but we just want to show the complete history of what happened. Now, because you did sign up with an exit company and they don't want you working with someone outside of that exit company, you stopped paying. You stopped your payments in June of 2024. Have you been receiving collection calls? And I know Martha will appreciate hearing what has happened during the 6 months. And I'm assuming that I think it's safe to assume you're seniors.
Yeah.
And it's probably safe to assume that you have always maintained a very high credit score.
Yep.
Okay, so what has happened in the last 6 months since you stopped paying?
Okay, so we stopped paying on the Hilton loan, which is Advanced Financial. Okay. Yes, we started getting collection calls. The first one, first we got letters that we were overdue. First it was overdue. And then they'd call us and say, okay, well, you're overdue. You need to pay us. It did go, okay. And then the second time, and we called them and my husband said, oh, well, we should just be honest and just go ahead and pay. we missed one, and then he went ahead and paid the second one. Okay. Then we realized, I think at that point we found Tarda. We found Tarda, and I said, no, don't pay anymore. So
Well, no, wait a
he
minute.
just,
We can't tell you not to pay anymore.
no. I'm just saying I just know you didn't tell us that. But I was like, well, obviously it's not getting anywhere, because we called Advanced Financial and they said, well, we can't do anything about it. You owe this loan. Okay. So at that point, we did stop paying. We did got a couple of collection calls until I blocked their number. And then they and it did start knocking our credit score down. And
How much has it dropped?
100 points, or
least.
at least 100 points, if not more. Because every month we were late, it knocked it down a little bit more. So, which I'm really grateful that we are able to do that. A lot of people cannot do that. They can't, they aren't able to default.
Well, and
Anyways,
let me interrupt you there, because we have one of our volunteers that's very involved with the elder abuse hotline. It's a nationwide number.
right, I know elder abuse, yeah.
Okay, so we want you to call them, because I've been informed that they're very interested in timeshare. Now, what I think we need is a younger abuse hotline. Because
Yeah, I agree.
because it's worse for the younger people that are calling
Yes.
me. You know, us old folks, usually our houses are paid. We're paying cash for our cars. Who cares about our credit score? But the young people are trying to buy a house. It can affect their employment. And we're not going to, next Monday is one day through before Christmas Eve. So we're going to do a rerun of active duty service members that are finding their security clearances in jeopardy because of defaulting on a loan.
Well, even the
now-
younger people that want to rent, they can't even rent because they do a background.
Exactly.
You know?
And TARDA has supported with third-party support, with court cases and have you, to try to explain to lenders. Kim's sister is a credit repair expert. She works in lending. And that's a whole different topic. We won't go there right now of what you can do to improve your credit score. But Martha, I always tell, I think I told you my ICE agent story, who was an Arizona resident, and he defaulted on a diamond loan. They didn't sell him enough points for a family of 6 to vacation for a week. It was 2,500 points. It probably takes like 6,000 or something, or 8,000. And so he defaulted on the loan. And when the collection agent would call him, he would say, "I'm really glad you called," which I don't think a collection agent's ever heard that before. And he said, "Did you know that there were over," and this is true, in 2016 and 2017, there were over 1,000 Diamond members that filed complaints with the Arizona Attorney General. I was one of them. You know, and Don, basically, now that I think about it, I had the same complaint you did, where I was happy with my points. I found good value, and I bought more points because they said they were adding New York properties. So that was the only reason I bought, to stay at New York properties. But I didn't have access to they were adding the resorts. So the rescission period didn't help me, and I had no reason to suspect it wouldn't work out for New York City, where our daughter lives. That's the only reason we bought. So then I go to book, and it would have cost $10,000 in maintenance fee equivalent dollars, compared to 3,000 booked online.
Oh my God.
And so I called them up and I said, "Am I doing something wrong?" "No, that's for people that have more points. They don't know what to do with them all." Like the two of you that were upsold for reasons that don't exist. Fast forward, we've heard from over 200 high-level members that have had this happen to them. But anyway, and then one time the ICE agent called me and said, "I had a bad day at work, so when I got home, I sent the executives a Diamond 50 tweets." I'm not advocating that. But the point is, basically he turned the predator into the prey, right?
Yeah.
And so Martha, if you're in the mood and you want to take a couple of those calls and say, I want you to pretend I'm your mother or your grandmother, and this happened to you. It's logical that my husband died. I don't want a vacation by myself. And you've put me in this situation and I had no control over it because your contract stated that you can sell points. We will not assist you. The other thing, and you bought the diamond points, basically renamed US collection points, which have no resale value whatsoever. Okay, now, Sheila,
Yeah.
are you more confused or less confused about how to prepare a report if something happened to Irene and the other board members would have to respond to, today was number 300.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I can help out with some of them, but it just depends. Like, it depends on like if it's a resort like that I've owned. I have more insight to that than.
Well, and we can go ahead and name, now you resolved, we've been working together since 2016
Yeah.
or 17, right around there. You resolved a dispute following our process back then.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you also owned at a couple other places, and I believe Wyndham's certified exit program works great if you have points. They're no longer taking weeks back, I'm told, but you also have Club Exploria, which
Yes.
gets into another sinking ship situation where we are flooded with Vacation Village and Great Eastern people that have no loan. And there's little to no resale, and you're in that situation with Club Exploria,
Yes.
where you have some medical challenges that make stairs difficult, and they're refusing to take it back even without a loan. So you have defaulted on your 2025 maintenance fees, correct?
I did not pay them.
Yeah, and one attorney said on our show that if you continue to pay fees for the rest of your life for a product that you can't use and you can't sell and you can't give away, you're rewarding unethical corporate behavior. Because there are resorts, one of our board members was HOA president and HOA treasurer, and they did have at their resort a program that would support people that needed to resell or rent. So not all have to be that bad, but what happens is as more people stop paying, the delinquencies go up, and the buzzword in the industry right now for your situation is repurpose. So some of these resorts are being converted to whole use condos. They're no longer timeshare. Now, as far as composing a report, did anything you hear today, if all of a sudden I wasn't here tomorrow, I have no plans of going anywhere, but I always believe in having.
I think I'm going with you.
Did this help at all? If you were to take an intake from somebody that was reaching out for help, would this have helped you at all to know what to do to help them compose a report?
Yes, I think so. And I think the 5 bullet points that were done, I think that helps a lot.
You mean the who, what, when, where, why?
Just take
Yeah.
yourself off video
Yeah.
and off mute.
Yeah.
And
Try
take
and
yourself
talk to them about that and help them and say, well, is that really, it's kind of hard unless you know. And I, like the one girl that I helped, I said, I need to see, what you're writing up, and then we'll go from there too. So I'm not the best writer like Kim. I'm not the best writer, but I feel that there's probably some of them on the board that are. And,
I haven't found them.
Oh,
I want to add something, and maybe we can recruit this because I'm seeing it everywhere. AI. AI is probably one of the best composing, drafting writers. And maybe we can investigate the use of AI because it's
we already have, Kim. I
Mhm.
sat in Palm Beach Airport next to an expert in AI, and so we have started looking into Chat GPT. But the thing is, think about your medical doctor. You know, there you can goes only so far with AI, but it's and we're working on it, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Now, if we were going to do an AI with Ann and Don, it would be you would reach out to TARDA, and then we would say, do you have your contracts? Right? And if the answer was no, it would be you need to get your contracts and put this in a chronological order, maybe something like that to do that. But and then we have only now, I'd say I'm primarily in the beginning when we had maybe in 2019 when we first founded TARDA, we had maybe three to five people would reach out in a week. So now that we have 10 to 20 and these exit companies that can have 2,000 or 3,000 people calling a week, it's very difficult to keep up with it, but we're going to keep going with it. You know, we want to keep our credibility, and we want to make sure that people have a place to get safe answers. So, Kim, and as we are ending the year end, I want to thank you. We started this show in February 26th of this year with Taya, active duty service member. And what I plan to do next year is Taya, after that first interview, when we got to know each other, she went to Delaware to listen to oral arguments along with you and along with Sheila. And I think we're all turned into courtroom buffs now.
yeah.
After that, because you really find out what's going on in timeshare. She also went with me to Westgate, where they lost at the appellate court. So Martha and Ann, if you do want to dispute your credit score, we have the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, we have Fannie Mae, and we have the Federal Credit Union Administration that all say a timeshare loan is not a mortgage loan. It's an installment loan, and that makes a difference, according to Kim's sister, who is an expert on your credit score.
It
I
does
think you
make
could
a
even go to your
difference. I
bank
will
and
say
they
that.
would tell you that. Yeah.
And I want to add that, you know, what would be kind of fun is if we got everyone who's angry about their timeshares to just blast these people with emails after emails after emails and letters and but also don't forget that certified letters work best.
No, they don't.
Well, they have to open them. So
No, it doesn't help. You know, even the exit company that Ann, because they'll just ignore those, and if they ignore them, what are you going to do?
Wrap up here. I want to talk to you a minute after the show about the exit company as well.
Yeah.
Might have a little idea, but you know, folks, it takes uniting together and not walking away. Make a commitment and follow through. And we all get busy, but you know, if we all if you see someone suffering, step forward and help them. And Irene has done a wonderful job, and she needs help.
Yeah.
And if we can get some people to come on board and help, we will. And you know, and then going to the courtrooms, man, that is fun. I hate saying it.
Yeah.
I know it's not fun for the attorney, but it's so invigorating. Sheila, don't you think? I mean,
Yes, I do. I think it helped learn a lot. And, you know, the judge that we had, he didn't know anything about timeshares. So, you know,
it was truly a learning experience, and
Yeah.
being with you guys has been an honor. And
We're out of
I'm looking
time.
forward. Yeah, and we're out of time, but I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on our rerun next week, and then we'll be right back the week after. And everyone, have a safe and wonderful holiday. And do not buy timeshare.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Unless resale for vacation suites.
Right. Talk to Irene first.
Yeah. Everybody, you have a wonderful holiday. And try not to think about the misery that you're going through. Take the time to enjoy your family.
We'll
That's
try.
No more
Thank
horror
you. Thank you
stories
for all
until
your
the
help.
first of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.